Hey, what's up everybody? We're back today with another quick tip video. This one is for rebuilding the castle walls. Now, if you're a little bit OCD like me, rebuilding the castle walls can be a bit of a daunting task because it's difficult to get everything to line up properly with the front fascia of the castle walls, be straight across the gaps, fill in everything really nice. Well, I found a really great way to do this, and I wanted to show you that today because, as you know, if you're a subscriber to the channel, I have a little bit different take on things in general, and rebuilding the castle walls is no exception. So what I want you to do is come up here to where you see the Minuteman flag, okay? And we're going to start with this wall that faces the city. What I want you to do is go into your workshop, go to your wood structures, and go to your shack floors. You're going to place a single shack floor right where you see mine right now. Now, the reason I'm not placing it in the video is this is the single most important piece of the wall that you're going to place because it's going to dictate two things. Well, three things actually. One, it's going to dictate how far your actual wall juts out from the front fascia of the existing castle walls. So if you don't want it to jut out, aligning this kind of where I have this one right now is very important because it'll keep it from jutting out in front of the walls that already exist. The second thing is making this straight across is what keeps your line straight going all the way to the other side. Now, if you tried to do this with shack foundations, you probably know that getting shack foundations straight is a giant pain in the ass. Shack floors, not so much. They're much easier to control. So that's the second reason you're doing this. The third is that the proper placement of this, how far out it goes, will dictate what sort of gap you have on the bottom level when you build your second tier of foundations down here to block this wall off. And I'll show you that here in just a sec. So, now that we have this in place, we're going to go into our shack foundations and we are going to drop or snap a shack foundation here. Okay? Once you have snapped that shack foundation, go ahead and trash this workshop or this shack floor. The reason you're doing that is because you can see there's a big gap here that actually has some light coming through it, and we want to fill that in, so that's why we're going to get rid of this shack floor. So we're going to get rid of that and snap a foundation in place there. Now that we have that foundation in place, we're just going to go straight across. You don't have to go that far if you don't want to. We're just doing that for the sake of me feeling better about myself. And we're going to drop down here in front. And it's now time to inspect your work on that top level. So as you can see, if we highlight this block, you can see the outline of the block as I move my hand in front of the screen and know that you can't see it. You can tell that this is just recessed inside that wall. If you were to come towards the camera a little more with that shack floor, when you place this shack foundation, it would actually stick outside the front fascia of this existing castle wall. So that's why we placed it where we did. That's one of the things you're probably going to have to adjust on your own. But once you get done, you're probably going to wind up with something like this. That's nice, straight, and relatively flush going all the way across. Now, you're saying, okay, MC, I've seen this shit before. I appreciate that, but you know well as I do that you cannot get shack foundations to stack. They don't line up. They're a giant pain in the ass. Well, there's a key to making them stack, and that key is the shack stairwell. So what I want you to do is take a shack stairwell and attach it to the top level. Once you've done that, I want you to come back down here, go to your shack foundations, and then head inside here and notice that your shack foundation will now snap to that stairwell, and once it snaps to that stairwell, you can easily snap the rest of your blocks in place, right, and fill in that wall, and then you can just kind of kill that stairwell. And you're saying, oh, there's a gap there. Well, there's really not. If you pop over here, it's an existing wall, so there really is no gap. But this is the gap that I was talking about when I said there's three things that kind of dictate where you place that one floor up there. If you place it too far to the left, if you place it too far back, you wind up having a little bit of this wall exposed here, and you can't quite place a block in order to fill it in. So that's why that placement is very key. But you can see there now, this is what it looks like. We'll pop down here, and I'll go outside. and show you what it looks like from the outside as well. So there's the front fascia built up. So that looks really nice, and it's straight, and you can see that our shack foundations have stacked perfectly. Alright, next wall to deal with. Same thing. We're up on the flag side. We're going to drop another shack floor here. This is going to be the most annoying one for you to line up, and the reason being is you cannot put a shack floor on the other side that lines up with this wall, and the perspective that you have in the game here is very deceiving. You're most likely going to have to build this wall once and then check out the angle and rebuild it again as you adjust this to account for the fact that it's a little bit of an optical illusion from here. You can't quite tell what lines up right and what doesn't. If you can see where I have the shack floor placed, hopefully this will give you some guidance on the proper position for this, but it is something that I had to play around with a few times. But once you get that in place, once again, more concrete foundations. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this one and pop one in here. Right, and then we're just going to go straight across here. And once we have that straight across, you can see it does fill in all the gaps. Nothing else to worry about as far as the walls being exposed. We're going to come down here, and we're going to use the magic stairwell again in order to allow us to fill in this section. So once again, just snap the stairwell in place, and then come back to your shack floors, go to shack foundations, and 1, 2, 3, snap it in place, and then you can get rid of this stairwell. And you can see there is no gap here. That's an existing wall that's on the outside of that. Now, if you do want to put more stairwells up here so you can actually walk up to the top easier, feel free to leave those and build onto them. But if you don't want to, that's fine as well. So you can see now this is lined up about as straight as you're going to get that with that wall. Yours may not look like that on your first attempt. As I said, this is very difficult to gauge from the other side what a straight line is, bringing you all the way across. But then there's only one more wall to deal with, and it only takes a few blocks to fill this one in. You're going to place another shack floor, but you're going to place it on this side. The problem being that you can't build this straight across and then continue with blocks and come this direction, because it puts a weird angle on things, because obviously the castle is not square. So what you need to do is place your shack floor on this side and then drop your foundations in place. And 3 blocks should be good enough to fill this in. We'll place a 4th just for the hell of it. Now if you drop down here, you can see now all of that has been filled in, and it is straight with the front fascia of this as well. So that's it for straightening out the castle and getting some straight walls put in and getting the foundation blocks to stack up nicely. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop me a comment in the comment section. But if you enjoyed the video or you got anything out of it, I'd really appreciate a like on the video or a sub on the channel. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.